Hi, my name is Jamie Camero, and I'm here to talk to you about connections to SBAR in my classroom 2018 through 2020. I'm a 6th grade science teacher at Walter Douglas Elementary in the Flowing Wells School District. I've been teaching for 16 years and have been involved in the SBAR program for 2 of those years. My first year in the SBAR program, I used the 2004 Arizona Science Standards, and my second year, I used the 2018 Science Standards. With my time in SBAR, I've had 2 graduate fellows from the University of Arizona science programs. They assisted with research, assisted with lesson planning, materials ordering, and time management. They also provided feedback to students, provided small group instruction for students, remediation and enrichment. They also co-taught SBAR lessons and taught individually lessons that they had developed for the SBAR program on their own. The major topics that I teach during my school year are physical science, specifically changing states of matter and potential and kinetic energy; earth science, energy from the sun, scale and proportion in our solar system; the constellations, the moon's effect on earth and seasonal changes; and the life science topics of human impact on the environment and ecology, specifically ecosystems and energy flows in ecosystems. The first theme that we connected to in SBAR was sustainability in arid lands. We made those connections with our 2004 standards, non-renewable and renewable energy, our 2004 and 2018 standards of climate change and human impacts, and our 2018 standards of Mars habitability, specifically arid lands on Mars. Some of the activities that we did to connect to this theme were carbon footprint, where the students had to measure their carbon footprint through their daily activities. They also made seed bombs using native seeds that they could throw out into their own yards at home, mind mapping using plants to combat climate change, and new this year was Strange New Planet and Albedo, trying to colonize Mars. The second theme that we connected to in SBAR was building bioeconomies. The topic connections are knowledge produced by science is used in engineering and technologies to solve problems and or create products. Specifically, the activities that we did in my classroom to make these connections were following career paths, expert interviews where the students interviewed experts in the field, and food versus fuel. When do we use these products as food? When do we use them as fuel? The third theme that we connected to in SBAR in my classroom was land use and culture. And we connected these actually through the social studies standards, middle school, of geography and history. Examining human population and movement helps individuals understand past, present, and future conditions on Earth's surface, and the development of civilizations, societies, cultures, and innovations have influenced history and continue to impact the modern world. Specifically, some activities that we did in my classroom to make these connections were class reading and discussion about the games Ulama, which was an Aztec game, and Pits, which was a Maya game, played with balls made of rubber from the Wayuli plants, and also survivors in harsh habitats, the Mogollon ancestral Pueblans and the Hohokam, and their movement around the southwest region in these arid climates. The fourth theme that we connected to was Guar and Wayuli. Our topic connections were specifically ecology, which comes from the Arizona Life Science Standards, and some activities that we did in my classroom to connect to this theme were growing guar and wayuli from seed and then comparing water consumption to other native and non-native plants. We also tested and compared the nitrate levels of soils used to grow guar versus growing corn versus growing grass to see if there was a difference if the guar and wayuli actually put nitrates back into the soil for healthier soils. And the last theme from SBAR that we connected to in the classroom was chemistry and engineering. Our topic connections were energy transfer, which comes from the Arizona Physical Science Standards, and specifically some activities that we did in my classroom to connect to this were fermenting yeast in bottles, where the students used yeast feeding on sugar to create gases, We also did a burn a nut activity where the students were able to measure how much energy was stored in different types of nuts. And then finally, using biomass to neutralize acidic water that was caused by acid rain as a biodegradable solution. So in closing, some of the worldwide connections that we made in my classroom through the SBAR project were specifically climate change, and my students were pen pals with students in India who live in a desert that's very similar to the Sonoran Desert. Nationally, my students were pen pals with students that live in Nevada in a desert that's very similar to the Sonoran Desert. And locally, we looked very closely at the farming industry, our local water use, our Sonoran Desert ecology, and indigenous historical land use.